What's up, everybody? It's Realistic with Realistic Productions. I'm doing another tutorial for SoundOracle.net. We're going to continue on with the fundamental series, and today it's going to be strings. Now, strings are so commonly heard in a lot of hip-hop, trap, pop music, EDM music, just a lot of music that has MIDI information in it, and so we want to kind of consider what's really important about these strings and what we can do to get them to shine through, but also what can we cut out of these strings to make sure that they're not muddying up the rest of the mix and they're not taking over some other parts of the mix that could really pop through. All right, let's dive in.
All right, so I got Pro Tools open up here. And as I always say, these tips and tricks will work in any DAW. And if you're capable of it, go ahead and open up your DAW of choice. You'll find that you learn a lot more if you do this along with me versus trying to remember it for later. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be focusing on the fundamental frequencies of strings, and we're going to focus on what to boost and what to cut. So let's dive in here. I got a couple little string loops that I had stored on my computer from some different loop packs. So let's pull up some EQs on them and get going. We'll start out with this one. It's a little bit more full. It's got more low and higher end frequencies in there. So I thought this was a good one to start out with. All right, so if you can probably guess, the first thing I'm going to do is cut out some of this low frequency down here, usually up to about 80, usually. You see that we're not affecting it too much, and then I'll show you what that sounds like. So it's just a lot of rumble, a lot of low end. The only reason why you might keep that in there is if it was just like strings and maybe, I don't know, vocals and that was it, or it was just like movie trailer thing and it was just strings. But if it's mixed with other instruments, you're really not going to need that in there. If you are doing stuff where it is just strings, you could probably cut 40 on down or 50 on down and keep maybe from 60 to 80. But you'll find once you start getting kick, snare, bass, pads, and other instruments, piano in there, you're really not going to need that way down there. So we'll go ahead and cut that. And then the next part that's worth cutting is, you could probably guess, it's a lot of what we see in the other areas for a lot of frequencies that we're cutting. It's going to be around this area between 120 and 180. So there's definitely a little build up at 105. I'll solo that out, show you what that sounds like, and I'll sculpt through real quick. So just a little bit of build up there. More at about 115 there. A little bit of a build up at 182. So just be aware that those are some areas that are going to be worth cutting when you're dealing with strings a lot, because otherwise you'll find that they resonate and kind of build up a little bit there. And then too, though, you want to be careful when you're cutting that area, because you'll find that the fullness and the body of that instrument will be there as well. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're boosting and cutting in that area, is that you want to find the resonating frequencies, but you also don't want to take away from some of that lower end there. All right, so another area to kind of cut that we saw kind of up here. Can you hear that build up there? I'll solo it out too. So that's usually worth cutting. So we'll find some of that body around 240 usually. So if you are looking for a little bit more fullness to it, that's usually worth checking out. So yeah, that's where the body is. And then some other places kind of worth cutting is, you're going to want to focus up here. This particular one is pretty smooth, but on some certain violins and stuff, you'll hear a little bit more of kind of a shrill sound that you might want to get rid of. So it's usually going to be around 2 to 3K, and I'll solo out so you can kind of hear what I'm talking about. So it's just kind of usually a good idea to duck that a little bit just to get some smoothness in there. So then some other areas that are worth boosting is if you're looking for the presence of the strings. That's usually going to be between 6 and 8K. So without it, with it, you can see that kind of brought some of the presence in there a little bit. If you're looking to add a little bit more of the scratch of the bow, you're going to find that between 7.5 and 10K. So I'll show you that a little bit over here. And then let me zero out the frequency and scope through just so you can kind of hear that scratch of the bow. So if you are kind of trying to add a little bit of naturalness to it, that's where you would be able to do that. So that's the sound of the bow screeching on there a little bit. And you don't have to boost that area, you don't have to cut it, but just know that that's where that is at. And then if you're looking to add a little bit of air, usually around 10K on up, you'll find that that's where you can add some air. See, that's the air of the instrument right there. Now, one of my favorite things to do with strings is I like to add on a 550A or 550B. Now, you can use the waves or the UAD one. I usually lean more towards the UAD one, but a little tip on this is because the 550A and the 550B have such a pristine top end to them. They're so gorgeous and gentle on the top end that they don't sound harsh, and it's just very silky and smooth up there. So if you have this one, I would definitely recommend adding that on there, and usually look between 7 or 10K and just put a high shelf on there, and you'll find that it really brings out a lot of the beautiful air in the string instruments. See how that just shines it up a little bit, and I'll show you at 10K. You know, compared to something else that's a little bit more transparent, like Pro Q by Fab Filter, this one, you know, it sounds good, but it's just a little bit more transparent and doesn't have some of that beautiful coloring that the 550A has. So yeah, if you can hear that difference there, it's definitely worth considering to, you know, if you have the 550A or 550B by Waves or UAD, definitely a good idea to throw that on there because again, it's just they're so beautiful when it comes to top end on there. So I'll just quickly go through some other ones because, you know, as I always say, these tips and tricks will put you in the right ballpark, but they won't work for every single string and it won't work for every single song. These are just to point you in the right direction. You might find different frequencies for different instruments. So here's another one. So this one definitely worth cutting a lot of stuff. The other one we only cut up to 80. This one you might as well cut up to 150. You're not going to have a lot of that resonating stuff. And then for some of the buildup, you're going to see a little bit more between maybe 250 and 350. See, that's where you'll find some of those buildups right there. And there'll be another one over here a little bit. So those are just some areas for buildup when you're dealing with a little bit thinner ones here. And then we'll look for that shrill. So that's where we kind of get that shrill, and then we'll kind of add in a little bit of the presence here. We'll add some air on here. I'll grab the waves one just to kind of show you the difference here. Yeah, so we definitely add a little bit more air to it. Now I'll just show you one more here. Hopefully you can hear when I'm going in and out here, how the presence really just shines through. And then we'll just kind of polish it up on the top end, add in some air. Yeah, so that's some fundamental frequencies for strings with the boost and cut. Hopefully you're getting a lot out of these videos, and hopefully this points you in the right direction of what you need to do for strings.
So I'm hoping that you got a lot out of this tutorial today. Hopefully there's some information that was useful. If you're getting a lot out of this but you want to see more, please feel free to comment below. Let us know what kind of tutorials that you want to see in the future, and Oracle and I can definitely make that happen. We're always trying to find the content that you want to see. If you're liking what you're hearing from me, you can find me everywhere on social media at Realistic Productions. You can find me at the web, realisticproductions.net. You can find my man SoundOracle everywhere at SoundOracle. And if you're looking for the best 808s, the best kicks, the best snares with the craziest loops and samples you can find on the internet right now, go to SoundOracle.net. Alright, till next time.
From SoundOracle.net.